Robab. Robab is one of the national musical instruments of Afghanistan and other areas inhabited by the Pashtun and Balok people. And now for our last destination, fasten your seatbelt as we go along the ways touchdown to discover the musical instrument of the country known as Holy Land. Our first instrument in Israel is the daf. It is a large Kurdish Persian frame drum that is used in popular and classical music. Kinnor or Jewish lyre is an ancient Israelite musical instrument in the yoke lute family, the first one to be mentioned in the Old Testament. Psalterion or psaltery, musical instrument having plucked string of gut, horsehair, or metal stretched across a flat soundboard, often trapezoidal but also rectangular, triangular, or wing shape. Psalterion is an ancient string instrument played by plucking the strings by fingers or a plectrum. Next instrument from Israel is the oud. The oud is a short neck lute type, pear-shaped, fretless string instrument, usually with 11 strings grouped in 6 courses. This oud instrument is known as the king of all musical instruments in Arab world. Another interesting musical instrument in Israel is the shofar. It is a ritual musical instrument made from the horn of a ram or other animal, used on important Jewish public and religious occasions. In biblical times, the shofar sounded the Sabbath, announced the new moon, and proclaimed the anointing of a new king. And that's completed our exploration on the musical instruments of South and Central Asia. Ngayong nalaman nyo na ang iba't ibang musical instruments ng India, Pakistan at Israel, mas mapapadali na ang inyong pagsagot sa Activity 1 ng inyong Learner Activity Sheet. Let us see if you can identify each instrument and what country they originated. Are you ready, learners? All you have to do is to bring out your learner activity sheet for Music 8 Day 1 and let us answer activity number 1. Activity number 1, entitled Name It. Here is the direction. Below are the pictures of South Asia and Middle East instrument. Identify each picture and classify the instruments according to the country it belongs. Write the answer on the space provided. My dear students, bring out your last and you may start answering now. On my PowerPoint presentation, I will flash the first instrument. Are you ready? For our first instrument, ano ang pangalan ng instrument na ito? Saang bansa ito nagmula? Okay, number 2. Can you name the next picture? Where is this originated? Number 3. Name this instrument and country originated. Okay, number 4. Sa pang-apat na instrumento, anong tawag dito? Saang bansa siya nagmula? At ang panglimang larawan, ano ito? Ito ay instrumento saang bansa ito nagmula. Okay, time is up. Let us check your answers. For number 1, the answer is kartal from India. Number 2, Jewish lyre from Israel. Number 3, darbuk from Israel. Number 4, shofar from Israel also. And number 5, tabla from India. Okay, who got a perfect score? My dear students, I'm glad that you were able to identify the name of instruments and the country they originated. Okay, for our next activity, proceed to assessment. Answer the following question, and here is the direction. Identify what is being described and each number, then write the answer on the blank before the number. I will read to you the question. Okay, ready? Item number 1. Describe as a membranous percussive instrument. This class of instrument typically comprised with drums. What is the answer? Okay, number 2. It is also known as blown air. It is characterized by the use of air to excite the various resonators. For number 3, referred to as vina during the old civilization, stringed instrument. Number 4, it is a musical instrument made of ram's horn. And number 5, a non-membranous percussion instruments. These are instruments that do not have strikable membranes and sound is produced by striking metal or clay. Okay, let us check your answers. Number 1, the answer is abanad. Number 2, sushir. Number 3, tat. Number 4, shofar. And number 5, gun. For your assignment, here is your performance task. Directions: improvise a musical instrument that is similar to the instrument of India, Pakistan, and Israel. Improvise instruments like baking pans for gong, bamboo for juice harp, cones for bamboo tubes, containers with stockings for drums. Then perform any Philippine folk song of your choice. Record your performance and send it to your teacher through Messenger. And here is the rubrics for your performance. For the criteria, timbre or student's vocal tone and quality instrumentation, pitch or student performed with correct pitch, rhythmic accuracy or students perform with correct pitch or rhythm, and the creativity and resourcefulness. Okay, 5 points for excellent, 4 points for very good, 3 for good, 2 for satisfactory, and 1 for needs for improvement. Maaari ba kayong magbanggit ng mga Philippine folk songs? Okay, anyway, kantahin nyo na lang yan kapag nagawa nyo na yung inyong instrument. I hope you learned from our discussion today. See you on the next episode of our discussion in Music 8. Para naman sa inyong karagdagang katanungan, maaari niyong ipadala ang inyong mensahe sa aking Facebook account o kaya magpadala ng text messages sa inyong mga guro. Mula rito sa bayan ng Victoria at sa pamamagitan ng Project Shine ng SDO, Tarlac Province, RTV Tarlac, Channel 26, DCTC 828, Radyo Pilipino Tarlac, and RTV Channel 26 Facebook Live. This has been your teacher broadcaster, Ma'am Maria Eden Lugid. Until next time, God bless everyone!
Bahagi mo Radyo Pilipino saan mang bahagi ng Pilipinas, saan mang bahagi ng mundo, anumang uri ng pamumuhay, kabahagi mo Radyo Pilipino. Radyo Pilipino sumasahimpapawid sa DWPR 1296 Dagupan, DZTC 828 Tarlac, DZLT 1188 Lucena, DZYM 1539 Mindoro, DWRL 1080 Legazpi, DWRN 657 Naga, DY DYRB 540. Cebu, DYRL 1035. Bacolod, DYRL 1134. Dumaguete, DXCO 1044. Cagayan de Oro, DXGS 765. General Santos, DXOC 1494. Ozamis, DXOW 981. Davao at Radio Filipino Podcast Center, Manila. Ito ang kabahagi mo, Radio Filipino. Napapakinggan on air, and online, sa buong mundo sa pamamagitan ng www.radiofilipino.com. Impormasyong may kalidad at serbisyong may halaga. Kasama, katuwang, kapinoy, kabahagi mo, Radio Filipino. Radio Filipino.
Upang matugunan ang mga kinakaharap na pagsubok ng mga guro at mag-aaral sa gitna ng kasalukuyang pandemya, nagsanib tulong sina Congressman Charlie Cojuangco ng unang distrito ng Tarlac, DEPED Region 3 Regional Director Dr. May B. Eclar at Tarlac Schools Division Superintendent Dr. Ronaldo Pozon para sa isang napapanahong proyekto na tinaguriang Project Shine, Aral TarlakHenyo. Ang mga mag-aaral ng Grade 4 at Grade 5, ganun din ang Grades 8 and 9 sa buong probinsya ng Tarlac, kasalukuyang sumasailalim sa radio-based instruction. Katuwang ang himpilang DZTZ 828 kHz AM at RTV Tarlac, Channel 26.
Ang Tarlac po nangunguna po ngayon pagdating po sa radio-based instruction. Marami pong humahanga sa atin. I'm very happy this station, itong DCTC, could reach the whole of Region 3. Hindi natin alam. We are contributing. We are creating a very big dent in the history of Philippine education. And I am proud. I am here in Tarlac. This is the noble cause of education in which you and I, without you knowing it, we are bound to do.
Project natin na Project Shine is a natural consequence dahil sa nangyari sa buong mundo. Let's continue to work together. I think it's very Filipino to practice bayanihan in anything or most of the things that we do. And this is a manifestation of that. No? We have private sector, we have DEPED, we have local government, all working together. And I hope the parents of some of these children, especially the parents that did not graduate from school or hindi nakapag-aral nung sila ay bata, sana naman gamitin na nila itong opportunity na mag-schooling na rin sila kasama ng mga anak nila para mag-bonding pati ang mga magulang sa mga bata. I look at this as doing God's work. Diba? So if you do God's work, it feels right. It's righteous. It's for good, not for evil.
Good morning and happy learning, grade 4. Welcome to
Aral TarlakHenyo here on RTV Tarlac, Channel 26.
Simulcast over DZDZ 828, Radio Filipino Tarlac.
I am Teacher Mercy Pacheco Bognot.
This is Alistair Aidatu.
I am Marie Josephine B. Andrade.
I am Teacher Princess Marie M. Dueñas, and I will be your teacher broadcaster for today.
Welcome to another fun and exciting learning experience. Right now, you are watching and listening to Aral TarlakHenyo here on RTV Tarlac, Channel 26, simulcast over DCTC 828, Radio Filipino Tarlac, and Converge Cable TV, Channel 100. I would also like to acknowledge our viewers via Facebook Live. I am teacher Kenneth Ann M. Nagtalan from San Julian, Santa Maria High School, your teacher broadcaster for today. We are now in the first lesson of the third quarter, grade 9 English. So, I am asking our grade 9 students to find a comfortable spot and listen carefully while participating in a fun learning activity. Before we begin, make sure you have your learning activity sheets as well as your notebook and pen as we explore the wonders of knowledge and skills in English 9. Get ready, grade 9 learners. Our discussion today will focus on MELC 1, differentiate biases from prejudices. After you have listened thoroughly in the lesson, you are expected to, number 1, define prejudice. Number 2, differentiate the 5 common types of prejudice. Number 3, determine the types of prejudice used in text. I guess you are now ready. So let's start our learning session. On the first page of your learning activity sheet, you'll see an image of a blindfolded man. There are 2 statements on his sides. Let us all read the statements. Statement number 1. Miss Alice cannot serve on a jury because she is a woman. Statement number 2. Carlo hates K-pop groups because they are not Filipinos. After you have listened to the statements, what do you think the blindfolded man symbolizes? Number 2. What is the connection of the blindfolded man to the pieces of information given? If you have any ideas, you can write down your answers in your notebook. And for our viewers on Facebook, you can comment down your answers in the comment section below. The image of a blindfolded man represents justice. And the link between the blindfolded man and Miss Alice and Carlos' statement is that people tend to judge others without even knowing the truth. The suggestion made to you is an example of prejudice. Let us learn more about it as we gain a better understanding of prejudice and its various forms. What is prejudice? Prejudices are thoughts, opinions, or feelings toward a person or a group, especially if they are negative. Next, it is a prejudgment or forming an opinion before becoming aware of the relevant facts of a case. The word is often used to refer to preconceived, usually unfavorable judgments toward a person or people because of gender, beliefs, values, class status, age, disability, sexuality, race or ethnicity, language, nationality, occupation, education, or personal characteristics. Now, let's take a look at these examples. Number 1, all Mexicans are illegal aliens and thieves. Again, number 1, all Mexicans are illegal aliens and thieves. Number 2, all Black people are unemployed criminals. Again, all Black people are unemployed criminals. As you can see, both sentences are showing strong, insulting, and negative judgments and opinions toward the Mexican people and the Black people. As a result, these sentences are considered prejudiced. There are 5 common types of prejudice. Number 1, we have the gender prejudice. Number 2, ethnic or racial prejudice. Number 3, sexual orientation prejudice. Number 4, age prejudice. And number 5, the class prejudice. Let's talk about the first type of prejudice, which is the gender prejudice. This refers to the attitude that all members of a particular gender, all women, all girls, all men, and all boys are a certain type of person. Example, all males possess the tendency to be womanizers. The next type is ethnic or racial prejudice. This happens when negative opinions, beliefs, or attitudes are held about people for the simple reason that they belong to a specific ethnic group. Example, all Mexican people are illegal aliens and thieves. The specific group in the statement is Mexican. Mexicans are people in Mexico, which is located in the southern portion of North America. We also have the sexual orientation prejudice. It is often based on the stereotype that all gay men or lesbians are immoral and thus inferior. These may include transgender or transsexual individuals or those who defy being classified as either male or female. This is also called homophobia. Examples, lesbians and homosexuals are all bad. Learners, this statement is a very alarming opinion that you yourself should refrain from believing. Number 4 is age prejudice. This reflects a prejudice against older adults. It is defined as any attitude, action, or institutional structure which subordinates a person or group because of age or any assignment of roles in society purely based on age. Example, Leah is 50 years old. He is not qualified for a managerial position in the company because he is too old, according to his boss. This prejudice is not only for adults, but also for younger generations of today who have already experienced the age prejudice, which they are told, for example, in one of the songs of Taylor Swift, if you know that, entitled Cardigan, the lyrics stated that, quote, when you are young, they assume you know nothing, unquote. Thus, this is an example of age prejudice. And lastly, we have the class prejudice. This is the attitude that those in a certain economic class are inferior to another class. It is a biased, discriminatory attitude or a distinction made between social or economic classes. Example, poor people have to work as house helpers. So once again, these are the 5 common types of prejudice. Number 1, the gender prejudice. Number 2, the ethnic or racial prejudice. Number 3, the sexual orientation prejudice. Number 4, the age prejudice. And number 5, the class prejudice. Remember, learners, that we may avoid being prejudicial if we, number 1, are mindful of negative attitudes and assumptions. Number 2, if we are careful of prejudiced language and avoid stereotypical statements about other groups of people. We may avoid being prejudicial if we speak out against intolerant statements and jokes made by others. So let us enjoy doing this series of activities from your activity sheets to help you better understand the concept of prejudice and its various types. So let's try to complete activity 1, which is entitled Define Me. Inside the box are the 5 common types of prejudices. Define each type of prejudice based on the statements below by writing the letter that corresponds to your answer in the space provided before each number. Number 1, this is called homophobia. It is often based on the stereotype that all gay men or lesbians are immoral and thus inferior. Again, number 1, this is called homophobia. It is often based on the stereotype that all gay men or lesbians are immoral and thus inferior. So learners, what is the answer? The answer is letter E, sexual orientation prejudice. Number 2, it is defined as any attitude, action, or institutional structure which subordinates a person or a group because of age. Learner, what do you think is the answer? Your answers are correct. The answer is letter A, age prejudice. Number 3, it is a biased, discriminatory attitude or a distinction made between social or economic classes. I repeat, it is a biased, discriminatory attitude or a distinction made between social or economic classes. What is your answer, learners? You are correct. The answer is letter B. You are doing great. Let's move on to the next question. This happens when negative opinions, beliefs, or attitudes are held about people for the simple reason that they belong to a specific ethnic group. What is your answer, learners? You are correct. The answer is letter D, ethnic or racial prejudice. Let's move on to the next question. This refers to the attitude that all members of a particular gender, all women, all girls, all men, and all boys are a certain type of person. What is your answer, learners? That's great. The answer is letter C, gender prejudice. Did you all get the correct answers? Wow, you are really paying attention to our discussion. So let's proceed to activity number 2. Activity number 2, name it right. Read the following statements, then encircle the letter of the correct type of prejudice that each statement illustrates. Statement number 1. A manager does not hire a more qualified female applicant because for him, men are smarter and stronger than women. A, gender. B, ethnic or racial. C, sexual orientation. D, age. E, class. What is your answer, learners? All right, the answer is letter A. Let's move on to question number 2. Some parents will not approve of their children marrying someone of the same gender because they believe it is wrong. A, gender. B, ethnic or racial. C, sexual orientation. D, age. E, class. What is your answer, learners? That's it. The answer is letter C. Very good. Let's move on to number 3. A manager refused to give a specific task to workers he considered old because he thinks older people can't handle that work. A, gender. B, ethnic or racial. C, sexual orientation. D, age. E, class. The answer is letter D. You got it right, learners. Let's move on to statement number 4. Some people believe that Muslims are dangerous. Again, some people believe that Muslims are dangerous. Letter A, gender. B, ethnic or racial. C, sexual orientation. D, age. E, class. Correct. The answer is letter B, ethnic or racial. Number 5, poor people must work as a construction workers. Letter A, gender. B, ethnic or racial. C, sexual orientation. D, age. E, class. Alright, the answer is letter E. That ends our activity number 2. Congratulations, learners! So I guess the next activity is just a piece of cake for you. Let us now check how well you learned about our topic. Let's have activity number 3. Activity number 3, news extract. Read the news extracts below, then answer what is being asked for. Write your answers on the space provided before each number. News extract number 1. James Park was on a night out which ended in him fighting for his life. James, who is a trainee police officer, was having fun with friends when up to 20 boys, some as young as 14, started shouting homophobic abuse at them. James was repeatedly punched and kicked in his face and body by the boys. He was left with several skull and facial fractures. What type of prejudice is shown? Which line proves your claim? Okay, the type of prejudice shown in news extract number 1 is sexual orientation. The line that proves the claim is 20 boys, some as young as 14, started shouting homophobic abuse at them. Let's move on to news extract number 2. More than 7,600 viewers complained about racism on the reality show Celebrity Big Brother. Viewers complained the contestants of Big Brother were racially abusing the Bollywood star Shilpa Shetty. They claimed that Shetty, from India, was being victimized and bullied. Shetty, 31, broke down in tears after allegedly being taunted about her skin color, accent, and cooking. What type of prejudice is shown in news extract number 2? Which line proves your claim? Okay, the type of prejudice shown is ethnic or racial. The line that proves the claim is Shetty, 31, broke down in tears after allegedly being taunted about her skin color, accent, and cooking. Let's move on to news extract number 3. Sky Sports presenters Andy Gray and Richard Keys have been accused of sexism after making several comments about a female referee called Sian Masay. They commented on her understanding of the offside rule during a Premier League match. The commentators believe their microphones were switched off but were recorded making remarks such as, "Somebody better get down in there and explain offside to her. Can you believe that? A female linesman. Women don't know the offside rule." What type of prejudice is shown? Which line proves your claim? Yes, correct. The type of prejudice shown in news extract 3 is a gender prejudice. The line that proves the claim is, "Can you believe that? A female linesman. Women don't know the offside rule." So that's the end of our activity number 3. You did well, grade 9 learners. You really applied the learnings acquired from our lesson. So I hope your learnings on prejudice will help you become a respectful and caring adult, and I hope that you applied it to yourself and to the real world. Now, you are all geared up to strengthen your learnings through the next activity that I will be giving you, which we'll be accomplishing after watching this episode. Post-listening or viewing activities. Listen to the scene where Lady Catherine talks to Elizabeth Bennet from the movie entitled Pride and Prejudice. Below is the transcribed copy of the scene. You can search the link that has been provided on your learning activity sheets. After that, you may answer the next activity. Read the following statements taken from the excerpt you just have listened to. Write yes if the statement expresses prejudice and no if it does not. Write the correct answer in your activity notebook. Number 1, never. You hardly have any money. Your family is in a poor social condition. Number 2, but you forget, he's a gentleman and my father is a gentleman, so we are equal. Number 3, you even have a poor connection with your own family. Listen well, though. Number 4, listen well. Darcy and my mother and my daughter were made for each other. They are both wealthy, unlike you. And number 5, this outrageous marriage will ruin the family line. So that ends our activity. If you have any questions, you can send me a message on my mobile number 0995-231-6605. Again, you can message me on my number 0995-231-6605. Wow, you really did a great and amazing job, grade 9 learners. Before we end this session, let me share with you a quotation that says, "It is not our differences that divide us. It is our inability to recognize, accept, and celebrate those differences." So learners, always remember to enjoy while learning. Until our next learning discovery in Aral TarlakHenyo or here on RTV Tarlac, Channel 26, simulcast over DCTC 828, Radyo Pilipino Tarlac. This is your teacher, Kenneth Ann M. Nagtalan, and I wish everyone a wonderful day.
Nais mo bang magpabakuna? Alam mo bang may mga tinatawag na priority eligible groups? Sa bawat priority group, may mga sektor na nakahanay. Kung ikaw ay kabilang dito, wag nang magdalawang isip pa. Halina't magpabakuna na. Simula Hunyo, sisimula na ang pag-roll out ng mga bakuna sa A5 group o ang mga nabibilang sa indigent population. Ito ay ang mga kabilang sa mahihirap na populasyon base sa listahan ng National Household Targeting System for Poverty Reduction o NHTSPR o iba pang verification mechanisms ng local government units. Kaya kung ikaw ay nabibilang sa grupo na ito, tumawag o makipag-ugnayan sa inyong LGU upang malaman ang mga detalye tungkol sa inyong vaccination program katulad ng petsa, oras at lugar kung saan ka magpapabakuna. Humingi ng medical clearance sa inyong doktor kung ikaw ay may autoimmune disease, HIV, cancer, malignancy, dumaan sa organ transplant, kasalukuyang dumadaan sa steroid treatment o nakaratay sa higaan. Huwag kalimutan ang iyong proof of eligibility o mga dokumentong nagpapatunay na ikaw ay kasama sa priority group na ito. Huwag din kalimutang dalhin ang iyong government ID, pati na ang face mask, face shield, sanitizer at ballpen bago ang iyong vaccination. At paalala, pagkatapos ng pagbabakuna, huwag mag-atubiling magtanong na makaragdagang impormasyon tungkol sa bakuna na ginamit sa iyo. Hingin at itago ang contact information ng personnel na tatawagan kung sakaling ikaw ay makaramdam ng seryosong side effects. Huwag rin kalimutan ang vaccination card at alamin ang petsa ng iyong second dose ng pagbabakuna. Higit sa lahat, ugaliin pa ring sundin ang minimum public health standards tulad ng wastong paghuhugas ng kamay, pagpapanatili ng safe physical distancing, at pagsusuot ng face mask at face shield. Ano pang hinihintay mo? Tara na sa Vida Vaccination! Sa pagnanais na mapigilan ng ating pamahalaan ang pagdami ng bilang ng mga kaso ng COVID-19, binuo ang One Hospital Command Center o OHCC upang mas mabilis na matugunan ang medikal na pangangailangan ng ating mga kababayan. Bukas ang OHCC 24 oras araw-araw Tumawag lamang sa mga hotline nito sa 0919-977-3333 o 0915-777-7777 o 02-886-50500. Maaari ring i-download ang Pure Force Citizens app sa Android o iOS upang mabilis na matugunan ang sinumang nangangailangan. Layon din ng OHCC na maiwasang mapuno ang kapasidad ng bawat ospital. Kaya't kung ikaw ay kinakailangang tumawag sa OHCC, mabibigyan ka ng libreng preliminary consultation. Para sa mga nangangailangan ng emergency quick response, makikipag-ugnayan ang OHCC sa DOH Bed Tracker at sa mga ospital upang makahanap agad ng pinakamalapit na bakanteng ospital. Ang transportasyon o ambulansya naman ng ospital na inirefer ng OHCC sa pasyente ang siyang susundo sa bahay nito. Kaya't kapag ikaw ay nakakaranas ng anumang sintomas ng COVID-19 o nangangailangan ng agarang tulong medikal, tumawag lamang sa OHCC at handa silang tumulong sa lahat ng oras.
Alam niyo ba na ang jeep ay ang pinakasikat na uri ng transportasyon sa Pilipinas? May nagsasabi na ang pangalang jeep ay hango sa salitang jeepy na ang ibig sabihin ay general purpose or government purpose na naglalarawan ng military jeep na ginamit noong World War II. Pagkatapos ng digmaan, iniwan na ng mga sundalong Amerikano ang libu-libong jeep sa kalsada ng Maynila. Ang matibay at makulay na jeepney nga raw ay truly mestizo dahil sa half local at half foreign na katangian nito. Alam nyo na, yan ang jeepney.
Kumusta mga giliw kong tagapakinig?
Nagbabalik ang inyong paaralang panghimpapawid,
Aral TarlakHenyo,
sa RTV Tarlac, Channel 26,
at sa bayang naririnig sa DZTC 828,
Radyo Pilipino Tarlac.
Tayo rin ay napapanood sa FB Live ng RTV Tarlac Channel 26.
Sumasahim papawid mula sa bayan ng Pura Tarlac,
mula sa bayan ng San Clemente,
mula rito sa Purok Elementary School, Pura Tarlac,
sa bayan ng Kapas Tarlac.
Ako, ang inyong guro,
na maghahatid sa inyo ng makabuluhang pagtalakay sa ating aralin.
Alam niyo ba na ang gitnang Luzon ay tinaguri ang banga ng bigas ng bayan at kamalig ng palay ng Pilipinas dahil dito nagmumula ang malaking produksyon ng bigas sa ating bansa. Ito ay binubuo ng mga lalawigan ng Aurora, Bataan, Pampanga, Nueva Ecija, Zambales at Tarlac. Ugaliin nating manood ng Aral TarlakHenyo Lunes hanggang Biyernes alas 8:30 ng umaga hanggang alas 5:30 ng hapon. Ako si Binibining Pia Isrin Capiral, ang inyong teacher broadcaster sa Araling Panlipunan dito sa Project Shine Aral TarlakHenyo. Lagi nating tandaan ang pag-aaral ng Araling Panlipunan ay tungo sa daan ng pagiging makadiyos, makakalikasan, makatao at makabansa.
Welcome sa ating Aral TarlakHenyo ng Schools Division of Tarlac Province. Hatid sa inyo ng RTV Tarlac Channel 26 at ng DZTC 828 Radyo Pilipino Tarlac. Isang mapayapa at ligtas na hapon, kabataang TarlakHenyo. naririto na naman tayo, nagsisikap at nagpupunyagi na maging makadiyos, makatao, makakalikasan, at makabansa. Kumusta kayo mga ginigiliw kong grade 9 Eco Learners? Ang aking pagbati at paghanga sa inyong masidhing pagpupunyagi na kayo ay makapagpatuloy sa pag-aaral sa kabila ng hamon ng pagkakataon, ang COVID-19 pandemic. Ako ang inyong guro sa Araling Panlipunan Grade 9, Ma'am Pops P. Macalino, magtuturo sa inyo via remote live broadcasting mula dito sa Bayan ng Concepcion. Sasamahan at gagabayan kayong maunawaan ang nilalaman ng ating aralin kaugnay sa mga konsepto ng macroeconomics at paikot na daloy ng ekonomiya. Ngunit bago pa man tayo magsimula sa ating talakayan, ay narito muna ang ilan sa mga paalala. Una ay siguraduhin ninyong nasa isang lugar kayo ngayon na kayo ay komportable at maayos na napapakinggan at napapanood ang ating live remote broadcast. Matanong ko lang, ikaw ba ay nagmerienda na? Mabuti naman kung gayon, dahil nararapat lamang na may laman ang inyong tiyan upang mas maging alerto ang inyong pag-iisip at maayos na maunawaan ang ating aralin sa hapon na ito. Sa puntong ito, nais kong kunin ninyo ang inyong learner's material sa Araling Panlipunan para sa unang linggo ng ikatlong markahan. At buksan ito sa page 228 to 233. Maaari ding ilabas ang inyong module number 1 para sa ikatlong markahan na may pamagat na paikot na daloy ng ekonomiya. Ihanda rin ang inyong learning activity sheet, ballpen at sulatang papel upang maitala ninyo ang mahalagang impormasyong aking mababanggit. Ang ating paksang aralin sa hapon na ito ay patungkol sa konsepto ng macroeconomics at paikot na daloy ng ekonomiya. Ngunit bago tayo magsimula sa ating paksa ngayong araw, ay alalahanin muna natin ang ating naging aralin noong nakaraang episode. Natatandaan pa ba ninyo? Magaling! Sa ating nakaraang episode, ating tinalakay ang ugnayan ng pamilihan sa pamahalaan. Isang batayan sa pag-aaral ng economics, ang pamilihan bilang isang mabisang mekanismo kung saan natutugunan ang walang katapusang pangangailangan at kagustuhan ng tao. At ang presyo bilang tanging salik na fokus ng pakikialam ng pamahalaan sa pamilihan. Ang pamahalaan bilang isang mahalagang institusyon ng ating bansa ay kinakailangang makialam o manghimasok sa takbo ng pamilihan upang magkaroon ng price stabilization at maiwasan ang mataas na inflation. Ang pagkontrol ng pamahalaan sa presyo ng pamilihan ay nahahati sa dalawang uri. Ito ang price ceiling o kilala din bilang maximum price policy at ang isa naman ay ang price floor o kilala din bilang minimum price policy. Ito ay may layuning matulungan ang mga producer, lalo na sa sektor ng agrikultura at ng mga manggagawa. Binabati ko kayo dahil napagtagumpayan ninyo na matapos ang mga gawain sa ikalawang markahan. Mula sa ugnayan at interaksyon ng demand at supply, pamilihan at iba't ibang istruktura nito, at ang ugnayan ng pamilihan at pamahalaan. Naway ang inyong natamong kaalaman at kasanayan ay inyong magamit upang maging mapanagutang mamamayan, kasabay ng inyong pagtugon sa inyong mga pangangailangan. At sa ngayon, sa palagay ko ay handa ka na para sa ating bagong paksa para sa hapon na ito. Inaasahan na sa pagtatapos ng aralin na ito ay naipaliliwanag ang bahaging ginagampanan ng mga bumubuo sa paikot na daloy ng ekonomiya. Sa ikatlong markahan ay inaasahan din na malinang ang inyong kakayahan sa pagko-compute gamit ang kaalaman sa matematika. Kritikal na makapagsusuri at makapagbibigay ng interpretasyon sa mga aktwal na datos ukol sa Gross National Product at Gross Domestic Product, pagpapahalaga sa kita, pagkonsumo at pamumuhunan. May paliliwanag din ang epekto ng inflasyon at masuri ang mga pamamaraan upang maiwasan ang epektong dulot nito sa pambansang ekonomiya. At sa lahat po ng mga magulang at mag-aaral sa ikasyam na baitang na nakikinig at nanonood sa ating live broadcast, kung kayo po ay may katanungan o nais linawin kaugnay sa ating paksa ngayong hapon, ay maaari kayong magbigay ng mensahe sa aking messenger. Type lamang sa inyong browser ang facebook.com/popsmacalino. O kaya naman maaari din kayong tumawag o mag-text sa numerong naka-flash ngayon sa inyong screen. Bago natin simulan ang ating talakayan, ay atin munang sukatin ang inyong paunang kaalaman sa ating magiging paksa ngayong hapon. At tatawagin natin itong hula letra. Tingnan sa loob ng logo ang tamang letra upang mabuo ang salita. Ang ilang letra ay ibinigay na bilang inyong gabay. Ready na ba kayo, grade 9 Eco Learners? Ito na ang ating unang bilang. Para sa ating unang bilang, ito ay dibisyon ng economics na nakatuon sa kabuuang ekonomiya. Ang letrang inyong gabay ay letter M, K, at S. Nahulaan mo ba ang tinutukoy? Kung ang iyong sagot ay macroeconomics, tama ka. Para sa ikalawang bilang, ito ay ang salaping kinokolekta ng pamahalaan upang makalikom ng pondo. Ang inyong letrang gabay ay letter W. Kung ang sagot mo ay buwis, tama ka ulit. Para sa ikatlong bilang, ang pinagmumulan ng salik ng produksyon ay meron tayong bonus letters na letter B at Y. Kung ang sagot mo ay sambahayan, napakahusay mo. At para sa ikaapat na bilang, ito ay bumubuo o ito ang bumubuo ng mga produkto at serbisyong panlipunan. At ang mga letrang inyong gabay ay letter P, H at letter A. Kung ang iyong hula ay pamahalaan, tama ka na naman. At para sa ating last number, ito ay tawag sa pagbebenta ng mga produkto sa ibang bansa. Ang mga bonus letters natin ay letter X at T. Kung ang inyong sagot ay export, very good. Nakuha mo ba ang lahat ng tamang sagot? Magaling. Ngayon ay magsisimula na tayo sa ating paksang aralin. Kung babalikan natin ang kahulugan ng economics, ito ay mayroong dalawang sangay, ang microeconomics at macroeconomics. Ang microeconomics ay sumusuri o tumatalakay sa maliit na unit ng ekonomiya o nakatuon sa desisyon ng bawat pamilya at bahay kalakal. Ito ay ang saklaw ng ating aralin sa ikalawang markahan. At ngayon sa ikatlong markahan ay atin namang susuriin ang ikalawang sangay ng economics. At ito nga ang macroeconomics na nakatuon naman sa pag-aaral ng buong ekonomiya. Ito ay nakasentro sa komposisyon at galaw ng pambansang ekonomiya. At sinusuri ng macroeconomics ang malawakang pangyayaring pang-ekonomiya tulad ng pagbabago sa kawalan ng trabaho, pambansang kita, gross domestic product, inflasyon, at antas ng presyo. May 4 na pangunahing pinagtutuunan ng pansin ang macroeconomics. Una, binibigyang pansin ng macroeconomics ang kabuuang antas ng presyo. Ang pagtaas ng kabuuang presyo ay pangunahing pinagtutuunan ng pansin ng mga gumagawa ng batas o patakaran na nakakaapekto sa mga mamamayan sa kabuuan. Ikalawa, ay binibigyan ng pansin ang kabuuang produksyon o ang bilang ng mga kalakal at paglilingkod na mga nagawa sa isang ekonomiya. Ito rin ay nagiging batayan sa pagsukat ng kakayahan ng ekonomiya kung paano matutugunan ang pangailangan ng lipunan at ng bansa sa kabuuan. Ikatlo, ay binibigyang pansin ng macroeconomics ang kabuuang empleyo. Mahalaga ito upang sa pagpaplano ng ekonomiya at bumubuo ng mga patakarang pangkabuhayan upang matiyak na may mapagkukunan na ikabubuhay ang bawat pamilya at lipunan. At ang ikaapat ay ang tinitingnan din ang ibang bahagi ng mundo at relasyon nito sa panloob na ekonomiya. Hindi maihiwalay ang mga pangyayaring pandaigdigan sa kalagayan ng ekonomiya sa loob ng bansa. May malaking epekto ang kalagayang pang-ekonomiya ng ibang bansa sa ekonomiya ng iba't ibang bansa sa buong daigdig. At maliban sa 4 na aking nabanggit, saklaw din ng macroeconomics ang tamang pagpapairal ng mga patakarang pang-ekonomiko at pinag-aaralang mabuti ang mga prinsipyo ng pagbagsak ng pamilihan at nakatuon ang atensyon sa kilos ng mga tao, sambahayan at industriya. Sa ating unang paksa ay ating tatalakayin ang paikot na daloy ng ekonomiya. Naitanong mo na ba sa iyong sarili kung paano kaya gumagalaw ang ekonomiya ng isang bansa? Sa ating unang aralin ay kikilalanin natin ang mga aktor o sektor na kumikilos sa ekonomiya at ang bahaging ginagampanan sa palitan ng salapi, produkto at serbisyo gamit ang mga modelo ng pambansang ekonomiya. Ang pagsusuri sa buong gawin ng ekonomiya ay isang napakalawak na gawain at mailalarawan ng galaw ng buong ekonomiya sa isang payak na kalagayan nito. Ito yung sa pamamagitan ng paikot na daloy ng mga produkto at serbisyo. Sa pag-aaral ng paikot na daloy ng ekonomiya, laging tandaan ang dalawang pangunahing aktor. Ito ay ang sambahayan at ang bahay kalakal. Ang sambahayan ay ang kalipunan ng mga mamimili sa isang ekonomiya. Dito ay nagkakaroon ng demand sa mga produkto at serbisyo, ngunit walang kakayahan na gawin ang mga ito. Nasa kanila din ang mga salik ng produksyon at ang bahay kalakal naman ay ang siyang tagalikha ng mga produkto. May 5 modelo ang pambansang ekonomiya. Gumagamit ng modelo sa pagsuri ang macroeconomics. Ang modelo ay isang representasyon ng isang ipinaliliwanag na konsepto o kaganapan. Ang mga ito ay naglalarawan ng interdependence ng lahat ng sektor ng isang ekonomiya. Sa pamamagitan nito, naipapakita ng simple ang realidad. Maaring isa rin itong abstract generalization, kung paano nagkakaugnay-ugnay ang mga datos. Para sa ating unang modelo ng pambansang ekonomiya ay nagpapakita ng payak na ekonomiya kung saan ang sambahayan at bahay kalakal ay iisa. Ang lumilikha ng produkto ay siya ring consumer. Ang supply naman ng bahay kalakal ay demand nito kapag kabilang ito sa sambahayan. Ito yung ating unang modelo ng pambansang ekonomiya na makita nyo ngayon sa inyong screen. So halimbawang ikaw ay bibisita sa iyong kamag-anak sa Visayas. Habang nasa laot ka, inabutan kayo ng bagyo at nasira ang inyong sinasakyang barko. Dinala ka ngayon ng alon sa Pampang at napagtanto mong mag-isa kang nakaligtas. Walang kasama at hindi ka agad makaalis sa lugar. Ano ang gagawin mo upang makuha ang iyong mga pangailangan? Hindi ba't gagawa ka ng paraan upang makuha ang iyong mga pangailangan? Hahanap ka ng paraan upang matugunan mo ang iyong mga pangailangan dahil walang gagawa nito para sa iyo. Ikaw ang maghahanap ng pagkain, ikaw ang gagawa ng iyong sariling bahay, bubuo ng iyong sariling damit. Sa madaling salita, ang sambahayan at bahay kalakal ay ikaw lamang. Ang kita sa simpleng ekonomiya ay ang halaga ng produksyon sa isang takdang panahon. Inaasahan na ang halaga ng produksyon ay siya ring halaga ng pagkonsumo sa produkto. Upang lumago ang ekonomiya, kinakailangang maitaas ng kaukulang sektor ang kanyang produksyon at pagkonsumo. Ang pag-iral ng sistemang pamilihan sa pambansang ekonomiya ang tuon naman sa ating ikalawang modelo. Okay? Ang sambahayan at bahay kalakal ang siyang pangunahing sektor pa rin dito sa ikalawang modelo. Sa puntong ito, masasabing magkaiba naman yung sambahayan at yung bahay kalakal. Matutunghayan natin sa ating kalawang modelo ng pambansang ekonomiya na makikita sa ating figura, na makita sa inyong screen at sa inyong learner's material na nasa page 233 na meron tayong dalawang uri ng pamilihan sa pambansang ekonomiya. Ang unang uri ay ang pamilihan ng mga salik ng produksyon. Ito yung mga tinatawag na factor markets. Kabilang dito yung pamilihan para sa kapital na produkto, lupa at paggawa. Samantalang ang ikalawang uri naman ng pamilihan ay yung pamilihan ng mga tapos na produkto or commodity market o tinatawag din siya minsan na goods market. Ang sambahayan ay may demand sa produkto, ngunit wala itong kakayahang lumikha ng produkto. Kaya naman, ang bahay kalakal ang siyang tanging may kakayahang lumikha nito. Subalit, wala siyang kakayahan na mag-produce ng kanyang mga gagamitin. So kailangan niya ng sambahayan para kanyang magawa yung kanyang mga produkto at serbisyo. Kailangan ng bahay kalakal na bumili o umupa ng mga salik ng produksyon, magkikipag-ugnayan ang bahay kalakal ngayon sa sambahayan sa pamamagitan ng pamilihan ng mga salik ng produksyon. Sa paggamit ng mga kapital na produkto, kailangang magbayad ng interes ang bahay kalakal. Halimbawa, sa paggamit ng lupa, magbabayad ang bahay kalakal ng upa o renta. At sa paggamit naman ng paggawa o yung mga manggagawa, magbibigay ito ng pasahod or sweldo. At dahil sa sambahayan din nagmumula ang entrepreneur, may kita itong nakukuha mula sa pagpapatakbo ng negosyo. Ang kita ng entrepreneur ay nabibilang sa kita ng sambahayan. Apat ang pinagmumulan ng kita ng sambahayan. Sa ating ikalawang modelo pa rin, kumikita ang sambahayan sa interes, kita ng entrepreneur, renta o upa, at pasahod sa paggawa. Sa pananaw naman ng bahay kalakal, ang interes, kita ng entrepreneur, renta o upa, at mga pasahod sa paggawa ay mga gastusin naman sa produksyon. Matapos ang produksyon ay makikipag-ugnayan ang bahay kalakal sa sambahayan sa pamilihan ng kalakal at paglilingkod. Dito bibili naman ang sambahayan ng produkto na pantugon sa pangailangan o kagustuhan nito. Gagamitin ng sambahayan ang kanyang natanggap na kita mula sa bahay kalakal bilang paggastos. Okay? Yung lalabas na pera mula sa sambahayan ay maituturing na paggasta ito sa kanya. At yun namang papasok na pera na mula kay sambahayan papunta kay bahay kalakal, ang siya namang kita ni bahay kalakal. Mamamalas natin dito yung sinasabi ko kanina na interdependence ng dalawang aktor. Ito yung sambahayan at bahay kalakal. So ang dalawang aktor na ito ay umaasa sa isa't isa upang matugunan ang kanilang mga pangangailangan at kagustuhan. Mapapansin din na kumikita ang isang sektor sa bawat paggastos ng isang sektor. Dahil dito may dalawang pagsukat sa kita ng pambansang ng ating paikot na daloy dito sa ating second model. Ang isa ay sa pamamagitan ng halaga ng gastusin ng sambahayan at bahay kalakal. At ang isa naman ay sa pamamagitan ng kabuuang kita ng sambahayan at bahay kalakal. So ang kabuuang kita ay naglalarawan din ng produksyon ng ating pambansang ekonomiya. Sa ikalawang modelo din, ang paglago ng ekonomiya ay nakabatay sa pagtaas ng produksyon. Upang maitaas ang produksyon, kailangan marami ang magagamit na salik ng produksyon. At bukod dito, kailangan din na mataas ang antas ng produktibidad ng mga salik syempre. Sa makatuwid, kailangan ng paglago ng kapital. Kailangan malinang din ang produktibidad ng lupa. Kailangan mapag-ibayo ng isang entrepreneur ang kanyang kaalaman sa pagpapatakbo ng negosyo. Sa ganitong kalagayan, tataas ang kita ng sambahayan at bahay kalakal. Alright, sa ating susunod na talakayan ay ating susuriin ang bahaging ginagampanan ng iba't ibang sektor sa ikatlong modelo ng pambansang ekonomiya. Maaari niyong basahin ito sa page 9 to 10 ng inyong module. Ngunit bago yun ay nais ko munang alamin kung ikaw ay nakinig sa ating talakayan dahil meron pa tayong 2 minutes. At tatawagin natin itong fact or bluff. Isulat sa inyong sulatang papel ang fact kung ang pahayag ay tama at bluff naman kung ito ay mali. Handa ka na ba? Para sa ating first question. Ang unang modelo ng pambansang ekonomiya ay naglalarawan ng simpleng ekonomiya. Is it a fact or a bluff? Kung ang sagot mo ay fact, ikaw ay tumpak. Next question. Ang dalawang aktor sa ikalawang modelo ay ang sambahayan at pamahalaan. Kung ang napili mo ay bluff, ikaw ay correct. Number 3. Sa ikalawang modelo, makikita ang interdependence ng sambahayan at bahay kalakal. Ang napili mo ba ay fact? You're right. At para sa number 4, okay? Sa unang modelo ng pambansang ekonomiya, ang sambahayan at bahay kalakal ay iisa. Is it a fact or bluff? Kung ang sagot mo ay fact, that's exact. At para sa ating last question na to, last number. Sinusuri ng macroeconomics ang maliit na bahagi ng ekonomiya. Ang isinulat mo ba ay bluff? Perfect. All right. So I hope na lahat kayo ay tama sa inyong mga isinagot at inaasahan ko na kayo ay natuto sa ating talakayan sa hapon na ito. Muli, ako ang inyong guro sa Araling Panlipunan Grade 9, Ma'am Pops P. Macalino na nagsasabing ang pag-aaral ng Araling Panlipunan ay daan sa pagiging makadiyos, makatao, makakalikasan, at makabansa. Hanggang sa muli.
Sama, katuwang, kapinoy, kabahagi mo, Radyo Pilipino, Radyo Pilipino.
Sa bawat hagupit na dala ng kalikasan, matinding pinsala ang hatid sa mga bayan at sa mga tinamaan, tanging pag-asa ang kanilang pinanghahawakan. Ipamalas natin ang tunay na diwa ng bayanihan. Let us help as one. Ibahagi ang pakikipagtulungan sa mga sinalanta ng Bagyong Odette. Tulong ka Pinoy. Tulong ka Pinoy. A project of Ascenso Kapinoy Foundation Incorporated in cooperation with Radio Pilipino and 1FM. Ang anumang donasyon ng bawat isa sa atin ay napakalaking regalo na para sa ating mga Kapinoy na naging biktima ng Bagyong Odette. Amin po itong ipadadala sa mga typhoon-ravaged areas. Kaya sa mga nais tumulong, maaari po kayong magdeposito sa Ascenso Kapinoy Foundation UCPB account number 2010-30038-685 o pwede nyo ring dalhin sa aming himpilan. Tulong ka Pinoy. Tulong ka Pinoy. Tulong tayo ka Pinoy. Para sa karagdagang impormasyon, bisitahin ang Radio Pilipino o 1FM Facebook page.
How are you today?
Hello, everyone.
Hello, learners of Tarlac.
Good morning, Math Talino Grade 4 learners!
Welcome to Aral TarlakHenyo
here on RTV Tarlac Channel 26.
Simulcast over DCTC.
Radyo Pilipino Tarlac.
I'm Sir Glenn, your teacher broadcaster.
Broadcasting live here at Paniki Tarlac.
Remotely here in Concepcion, Tarlac.
Live here at Barangay Pedro Elquines, Mayantok, Tarlac.
Broadcasting live from Ramos National High School.
Your anchor teacher today for grade 9 mathematics.
your partner in education this time of pandemic.
I'm back. This is Sir Z, your teacher broadcaster.
Magandang araw mga kapantas!
Welcome to Aral TarlakHenyo.
Hello everyone. Good day.
I am grateful that you are watching and listening to Aral TarlakHenyo here on RTV Tarlac Channel 26, simulcast over DCTC 828 Radyo Pilipino Tarlac. I am John Myron M. Mariano, your teacher broadcaster in TLE Electrical Installation and Maintenance Grade 9, broadcasting live at La Paz, Tarlac. This is Project Shine, Aral TarlakHenyo. I hope that you are doing well, and to our dear parents and guardians, thank you for your unwavering support to your children. To our dear learners, get ready to listen and stay focused. Now, dear students, are you ready to enjoy and learn something new? But before we start, please make sure that you are in a comfortable place, away from any distraction. Check your connections as well as your speaker or headset, so you could hear me loud and clear. And of course, don't forget to prepare your ball pen and paper and also your compendium of notes in EIM Grade 9. If you have any question about our lesson, feel free to ask using our comment sections. Today, we will focus our discussion on industrial arts, electrical installation and maintenance. Our topic is about types of electrical diagram. Are you now ready to listen? Let us start by reviewing our past lesson, which is all about the parts of a light bulb. Can you still remember the parts of a light bulb? So these are the parts of a light bulb. The number one, glass bulb. This is a soft glass generally used. Hard glass is used for some lamps to withstand higher temperatures and for protection against the weather. And number two, inert gas. Usually a mixture of nitrogen and argon is used in most lamps. Number three, tungsten filament. The filament material usually is tungsten. The filament may be straight wire, a coil, or a coiled coil. Number four is a contact wire goes to the foot. This is made in copper. They carry the current to the filament. Contact wire goes to the base. Made in copper, they carry the current to the base. The next one is support wires. Molybdenum wires is to support the filament, and also glass mount or support. It supports the thread going to the filament. Next is base contact wire used to avoid the short circuit. Screw threads the upper rim of the basic shell. Insulation is one lead-in wire soldered to the center contact. And the last part of our light bulb is electrical foot contact, the very bottom part of a bulb. Now, can you still remember the inventor of a light bulb? Okay, so he is Thomas Alva Edison. Some historians claim there were over 20 inventors of incandescent lamp prior to Edison's version. However, Edison is often credited with the invention because his version was able to outstrip early version because of a combination of three factors: an effective incandescent material, a higher vacuum than the other were able to achieve, and a high resistance that made power distribution from a centralized source economically viable. And now, prepare yourself for another lesson. Let's begin. Open your compendium of notes in TVE EIM Grade 9 on page 1. Our lesson for today is all about the types of electrical diagram. So a wiring diagram is a fundamental, conventional, graphic illustration of an electric circuit. It shows the simplified shapes, power lighting, and signal connections between the devices. Electrical wiring diagrams are important in the life of electricians. I have listed some words that will define why electrical wiring diagram is much needed by the electricians. So number one, this is our guide as an electrician. When we are doing electrical wiring, this is our manual on how we do it. And number 2, this is our compliance in NEC or National Electrical Code. As an electrician, we need to follow all the electrical code mandated unto us. And number 3, it will avoid accidents in the workplace. Once our electrical wiring diagram is correct, it will be a smooth process when we are doing it. And last, it will lead to an standardized output. We will avoid the shortage or overage of tools and materials. We need to remember installation wiring diagram. This is showing all the details of an electric installation. On architectural drawings will be an impossible task. Wiring in different rooms, number of wires, types of loads such as lamps, sockets, and switches. This is normal drawing for the construction of house or building. The types of electrical wiring diagram used by electricians are schematic diagram, connection diagram, line diagram, and pictorial diagram. Let us talk about the schematic diagram. Schematic diagram is a wiring diagram using the standard electrical symbols for wiring devices. It is a representation of elements of a system using abstract and graphic symbol rather than realistic pictures. So this is an example of a schematic diagram. Let us move on to the connection diagram. So actual connection diagram is a sketch of actual connections of electrical devices in a circuit or wiring installations. Like schematic diagram, it also uses electric symbols, which is more detailed because it shows the wire terminations and connections. So this is an example of a connection diagram. The next type is line diagram. So line diagram is a presentation of electrical connections of wiring devices using single line and with the slashes indicating the number of conductors in a line. It includes also the measurement from one point to another, and the measurement is always center to center. So this is the example of a line diagram. And next, and also our last classification, is the pictorial diagram. So pictorial diagram is a type of electrical print that shows external appearance of each component in a circuit. It is much like a photograph of a wiring installation. It shows more detailed physical appearance of a circuit or a wiring installation. So this is an example of a pictorial diagram. So those are the types of a electrical wiring diagram. And then, dear students, at this point of time, we will be watching the installation of electrical boxes and flexible conduit with the guide of one of the electrical wiring diagram, the line diagram. Watch carefully and jot down all the steps in the activity.
We will do our activity, the installation of electrical boxes with the guide of our line diagram. Let's go! The first step on our activity is to prepare a line diagram. This will be our guide on our activity for this day. And this is our line diagram. after we prepare our line diagram, the next step is to prepare our tools that are needed on our activity. First, we have the claw hammer, the screwdriver, the hacksaw, the push-pull rule, and our meter stick. After we prepare our tools that are needed in our activity, let's proceed to the materials. First, we have our junction box. Next one is utility box. Following is circuit breaker, and also our screws and U-nails. And the last one is our corrugated flexible conduit. The first thing that we need to remember is to compute center to center our measurement. First, we need to install the box of the circuit breaker. So from here to the ceiling and to the wall is 20 centimeter and 20 centimeter. This will be the center. And from our circuit breaker up to here is 50 centimeter. And from point here down to our junction box is also 50 centimeter. And from our junction box to the light or our utility box here is 40 centimeter. And from our junction box down to our switch or our utility box is 30 centimeter. And after we perform our mensuration and calculation, now let's proceed on the installation of our boxes depending on our measurement in the line diagram. Now that we have installed our boxes, we will now proceed to our next step. Okay, and the next part is to install our corrugated flexible conduit to our circuit. Remember, learners, be careful when we are using a hacksaw to avoid any accidents. Okay, so this is our final product. We have installed our boxes and also we have fixed our corrugated flexible conduit to perform our activity in the guide of our line diagram. But before that, we were going to do our housekeeping. This is the last part of our activity, the housekeeping. We will return our tools and materials on a safe place. And last, clean the activity area after we finish our job. Congratulations! We have finished our activity, the installation of electrical boxes with the guide of line diagram. Thank you so much, and God bless us all.
The video that being presented, we have learned the different steps in application of line diagram. And also, we have learned the proper installation of electrical boxes and can do it according to the diagram that we have used. We need always to remember that when we are doing our electrical wiring activities inside our laboratories or shop areas, follow the standard and create electrical diagram. This will be our guide to avoid accidents, better output, and to follow the standard. Let us now have our recap. Are you ready? A while ago, we have discussed the types of electrical wiring diagram: the pictorial diagram, schematic diagram, line diagram, connection diagram. And always remember these types of electric wiring diagram. We have watched also the proper usage and application of the line diagram in installing electrical boxes and conduit. Let us now check your understanding about our lesson today. Let's have a short quiz. Open your compendium of notes on page 22 and answer learning activity number 1. I am going to show the picture. Let us have the question number 1. What kind of wiring diagram is used standard electrical symbol for wiring devices? It is also a representation of the elements of a system using abstract and graphic symbols rather than realistic picture. Is it letter A, schematic diagram, letter B, line diagram, letter C, pictorial diagram, or letter D, connection diagram? Let's move on to our question number 2. What kind of wiring diagram is a sketch of actual connection of electrical devices in a circuit or wiring installation? Letter A, line diagram, B, connection diagram, C, schematic diagram, or letter D, pictorial diagram. Let's move on for our question number 3. What kind of wiring diagram has a representation of electrical connections of wiring devices using single line and with the slashes indicating the number of conductors in a line? It includes also the measurement from one point to another. Letter A, connection diagram. Letter B, line diagram. C, schematic diagram, or D, pictorial diagram. And for our question number 4, it is a type of electrical print that shows external appearance of each component in a circuit. It is much like a photograph of a wiring installation. It shows more detailed physical appearance of a circuit or wiring installation. Is it letter A, schematic diagram, B, pictorial diagram, C, line diagram, or D, connection diagram? And for our question number 5, it is a fundamental conventional graphic illustration of an electric circuit. It shows the simplified shapes, power, lighting, and signal connections between the devices. Letter A, electrical wiring diagram. B, line diagram. Letter C, line diagram, or D, connection diagram. Let us now check your answer. For our question number 1, the answer is A, schematic diagram. Letter B, number 2, letter B, connection diagram. Number 3, letter B, line diagram. Number 4, letter B, pictorial diagram. And number 5, letter A, electrical wiring diagram. Okay, count your scores. For those who got a perfect score, excellent. And those who didn't get the perfect score, no worries. At least you tried your best. And keep on reading your compendium of notes in EIM. All right, since we have still enough time, I can now entertain your question. And the question was from Capas High School. The question is, sir, can we do our activity even without our diagram? Very good question. As an electrician to the NEC, we need to create our diagram in doing electrical activities. So to answer your question, it is a no. Okay, another question from Guevara High School. Sir, does all the electricians doing diagrams before performing the electrical works or agenda? Another very good question. The answer is yes. All the license and NC holders use this method for them to accomplish their task within the standard and procedure. Okay, I know that there are more questions out there, but since we have a limited time on air, I will answer all your questions on a group chat, or may send your question to 0936-668-0353, and my email is marianojohnmyron@gmail.com. Rest assured that I will answer all your questions. All right, that ends our session this afternoon. I hope that you enjoy our on-air live discussion about EIM. It has been a great day serving you all. This is Project Shine, Aral TarlakHenyo, brought to you by the Department of Education, Division of Tarlac Province, in cooperation with DCTC 828 AM station, sponsored by our ever-supported Congressman of 1st District, Charlie Cojuangco. Thank you and God bless. I am Teacher John Myron M. Mariano, Grade 9 TL Anchor teacher for today, saying, this pandemic, it is important to stay healthy, helpful, and calm. Don't forget our hashtag in TLE, we aim for skills, knowledge, and progress. Until next time, goodbye and God bless.
Radyo Pilipino. Impormasyong may kalidad. Serbisyong may halaga. Saan mang bahagi ng Pilipinas. On air. Saan mang bahagi ng mundo. Online. Ano mang uri ng pamumuhay. Kasama. Katuwang. Kapinoy. Kabahagi mo. Radyo Pilipino. Radyo Pilipino. Gutom ka ba sa impormasyon? May namiss ka bang subject at leksyon? Gusto mo bang alalahanin ang nakaraan o dagdagan ang iyong kaalaman? Lahat yan alamin natin because the professor is in. Professor on air and online. Kasama si Professor Willie Perez. Isang oras na kaalaman, isang oras na makabuluhan. Professor on air. Mamangha at tumawa sa mga tips at trivia. Sa gabay at tanong, sagot ka rin niya. Professor on air and online. Kasama si Professor Willie Perez. Tuwing Sabado, alas 10 hanggang alas 11 ng umaga. Mapapakinggan sa Radyo Pilipino at mapapanood sa RTV Tarlac Channel 26. Professor on air.
This is my story. Ano ang kwento ng buhay mo? Malungkot? Masaya? May kababalaghan? O puno ng aksyon?
ang bawat kwento ng kapwa nating Pilipino ay mahalaga. This is my story. Sama-sama nating ibahagi ito upang magbigay aral at inspirasyon sa ating lahat. This is my story.
This is my story.
Hosted by Mitch Desunia tuwing Sabado alas 3 hanggang alas 4 ng hapon. Mapapakinggan dito sa Radyo Pilipino at mapapanood sa RTV Tarlac Channel 26.
This is my story.
Alam niyo ba na ang salitang yoyo at ang makabagong bersyon nito ay naimbento ng isang Pilipinong nagngangalang Pedro Flores? Taong 1920s nang dinala ni Flores ang laruang ito sa Estados Unidos. Sinimulan niya ang paggawa nito sa kanyang maliit na pabrika sa California at ipinakita sa mga tao ang iba't ibang tricks ng paggamit nito. Alam mo na, yan ang yoyo!
Kumusta mga giliw kong tagapakinig?
Nagbabalik ang inyong paaralang panghimpapawid
Aral TarlakHenyo
sa RTV Tarlac, Channel 26
at sa bayang naririnig sa DCTC 828
Radyo Pilipino Tarlac.
Tayo rin ay napapanood sa FB Live ng RTV Tarlac Channel 26.
Sumasahimpapawid mula sa bayan ng Pura Tarlac,
mula sa bayan ng San Clemente,
mula rito sa Purok Elementary School, Pura Tarlac,
sa bayan ng Kapas Tarlac.
Ako, ang inyong guro,
na maghahatid sa inyo ng makabuluhang pagtalakay sa ating aralin.
Grade 9 learners, welcome to Aral TarlakHenyo here on RTV Tarlac Channel 26, simulcast over DZTC Radio Filipino Tarlac. I am your teacher broadcaster, Ma'am Jocelyn B. Pancho, aiming to give you another fun-filled learning experience in Music 9. Did you miss our discussion of Music 9 lesson? I am sure you are all excited to listen to another musical learner. Some gentle reminders to our grade 9 learners and their learning partners at home. We want our discussion to be interactive, so please use our platform's RTV Channel 26 Facebook page, MAPE 9 Aral TarlakHenyo, and your respective subject GCs and comment your questions, answers to our activities, or just share your ideas about our lesson. So let's get the record playing. All eyes and ears to our discussion, dear grade 9 learners of Tarlac Province, as we go over our lesson on the air. Are you ready? Very good. I need you to relax, because when we are relaxed, we are comfortable. And when we are comfortable, we can think well. And that's exactly what we need at this hour. To start our session, please get your CLP or your compendium, your learning activity sheet, and your pen. Ready? Please get your compendium. Okay, now that you have your compendium with you, let's get started. Let us look back on the lessons that we've had last quarter. Second quarter music took on the music of the classical period. We have discussed the lives and works of the three notable composers of the classical period. Write A if the description I will give you is about the life and works of Franz Joseph Haydn. Write B if it's about the lives of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. And write C if it's about Ludwig van Beethoven. Write your answers in a clean sheet of paper or just comment your answers in our FB Live. Ready? Please play video. Play slide. Number 1. This composer is known as the greatest composer of all times. Despite of being deaf, he was able to make great music in his career. For Elise and Symphony No. 5 are among them. What is your answer? The correct answer is C, Ludwig van Beethoven. Number 2. This composer is known as the child prodigy. Having knowledge of playing different kinds of musical instrument at an early age, he made a mark in classical music world. His famous works include Ein klein Nat music and Ronda alla Turca. What is your answer? If you have answered B, you are correct. He is Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Number 3. This composer is known as the father of symphony, composing 106 symphonies in his musical career. The Surprise Symphony, the Military, and the Clock Symphony are among them. What is your answer? You are correct. He is Franz Joseph Haydn. What is your score for this activity? Did you get all 3 correct answers? Very good. You should have a good understanding of our lesson last session. This makes me more enthusiastic for today's discussion. Now remember, your learning task for today is at the end of the lesson, you should be able to explain the performance practice, the setting, composition, role of composers and the performer, and the audience during the Romantic period. Number 2, relate Romantic music to other art forms and its history within the era. Describe the musical elements in a Romantic period music. Let's travel back in time once again and explore another interesting period in music history. But first, let us have our pre-test to assess what you already know about our lesson. In your learning activity sheet, answer activity 1. Read the questions and choose the correct answer from the given choices. Write your answer in a clean sheet of paper. Are you ready? Start answering. Please play video. Okay, your time is up. Let's check and see your scores for this activity. Number 1 is C, romantic period. Number 2 is C, having a strong feeling for one's nation. Number 3 is A, freedom in writing and designing an intense personal expression of self-emotion. What is your score for our pre-assessment activity? Did you get all 3 correct answers? If yes, you are at an advantage for our new lesson. If you have wrong answers, don't worry because all your questions for this lesson will be answered. Please open your compendium on page 2 for you to be guided properly. Now, before we head out to our discussion, listen to the phrases I am going to read out. At the end of the phrases, tell me what idea is being conferred from these phrases. Picture number 1. Bouquet of red roses, chocolates, and gifts. I'm sure some of you have received these things last Valentine's Day from your loved ones. Picture number 2. Dinner by candlelight. The dining table is set in a very sentimental way with lights, dimmed by candlelight and mood set with a sweet music. Picture number 3, a movie with a love story theme. Picture number 4, a love song with lyrics describing strong affections for somebody. Now, what idea do you think is conveyed from the phrases and pictures I have mentioned? You can type in your ideas on the comment section of our FB Live. Now, let's check some answers sent on our FB MAPE page. And an answer is given by a learner from Capas. She is Kiela. She said the phrases suggest ways of how a person expresses his or her love to somebody. Another answer from Kervin Jan, a grade 9 learner from Cristo Rey. He said that pictures describes gestures of appreciation and affection to someone you have feelings for. And finally, an answer from Amber. He said that it gives him idea about how we show our emotions by expressing them in different ways, like giving gifts and flowers, eating in a romantic dinner date, and singing romantic songs to your special someone. I enjoyed reading your answers on our FB page. All your observations and ideas are correct. It is about expressing one's feelings to someone in a romantic way. From the phrases and answers that we have, can you guess what period in music history are we going to talk about for today? Yes, you are right. It is all about romantic period music. When someone or something is said to be romantic, it means it has a strong effect on your emotions. That very idea can give us what type of music persisted during the Romantic period. Romantic period is the period in history that extended from 1820 to 1910. Romantic period is the period it is the era after medieval, Renaissance, Baroque, and classical periods subsequently. Romantic period is a cultural movement that stressed emotions, imagination, individualism, and freedom of expression. Note that during the classical period, composers used their passion for music to earn a living, but Romantic period music used more on freedom of expression. Looking back, during the classical period, where music is limited to nobility, Romantic period gave chance to ordinary people in witnessing musical performances. As the century progressed, music became increasingly available and popular among the middle class. Concert halls provided venue for musical performances, and instrumental music was available to a wide audience. One notable composer during this time is Ludwig van Beethoven, who bridged the late classical era and early Romantic era. He lived in both eras. That is why he was able to combine both periods' characteristics and created great music. Note that expression of feeling is not only confined with love to somebody. It could also mean love for country. Nationalism is the awareness of the distinctive features of a nation and the intent to reveal, emphasize, and glorify these features. These are reflected in Romantic period, called nationalistic music. Nationalistic music refers to the use of musical ideas or motifs that are identified with a specific country, region, or ethnicity, such as folk tunes and melodies, rhythms and harmonies inspired by them. Can you give examples of nationalistic songs and music in the Philippines? Very good. Our very own national anthem, Lupang Hinirang, is a good example of nationalistic music. Pilipinas Kong Mahal is another example. Even in pop music, nationalistic songs are also reflected. Good examples of these are Noipi, sung by Bamboo, and of course, Mga Kababayan Ko, by the late Francis Magalona. Now let's check how much you are learning. Let's have a quick quiz on what we have been discussing. In your learning activity sheet, activity 2, true or false? Read the statement carefully. Write true if the statement describes about Romantic period music. Write false if it does not. Number 1, Romantic period is the period that extended from 1820 to 1910. Number 2, Ludwig van Beethoven bridged late classical period and early Romantic period. And number 3, Romantic music was only available for the nobility. Okay, let's check your answers. The statement for number 1 is true. The statement for number 2 is also true. The statement for number 3 is false. Did you get all 3 correct answers? Very good. You are keenly listening to our discussion. Let's continue. Romantic period music will not attain its distinct characteristic if not with the musical elements the composers used to compose their music. These are the musical elements used in Romantic period music. Number 1 is called the tempo. Tempo in music literally means speed. How fast or slow is the tune? It is usually identified as fast, slow, or moderate tempo. Camille Saint-Saëns is a Romantic period composer who used different tempo in one composition. Let's listen to Carnival of Animals by Saint-Saëns and find out how the tempo of music describe each animal. Now, in the music Carnival of Animals by Camille Sansan, the first tempo describes the movement of this giant animal, the elephant, in a slow tempo, followed by a majestic moderate tempo describing the movement of the lion. The last part gave us an upbeat, lively, fast tempo depicting the cheerfulness of the birds. Now, another musical elements in romantic period music is the texture. Texture in music refers to how many musical layers play in one song or music. There are three types of texture. The first is monophony, from the word mono, which means single, and phony, which means sound. Monophonic texture has only one layer, the melody. With monophony, it doesn't matter how many instruments or singers are present as long as they are all singing or playing the same thing at the same time. Here is the song Row Your Boat in a monophonic style. The second type of texture is called homophony. Homophony has two musical layers, the melody and the harmony. Basically, the melody is being accompanied by a musical instrument playing in chords. In the music, Row Your Boat melody was accompanied by a layer of piano chord as harmony. This type of texture is called homophony. Most popular music is homophonic. The third type of texture is called polyphony. Polyphony in music came from the word poly, which means many, and of course, phony, which means sound. It has two or more independent melodies playing at the same time. Polyphony also occurs when you take the same melody but started at a staggered interval. This is called a round song. Let us listen to a polyphonic version of Row Your Boat. Now, in the music that you've heard, there is only one melody repeated 3 times, but started at different intervals. Now, let us listen one more time to Row Your Boat in different texture. The use of tempo and texture sets the mood in music. It is how the message of the songs are conveyed, along with the use of other musical elements. It also means the atmosphere of the song or music being played. We may derive different moods in music, such as scary, mystery, shocking, calm, peaceful, adventure, comic, warm, serious, inviting, dark, and excitement. These are only few atmospheres music can describe. Now, it's time to test your knowledge about our discussion. In your learning activity sheet, Activity 3, Music Analysis. Try analyzing the chosen romantic period music according to its texture, tempo, and its mood. Choose among the choices from each element and write your answers in a clean sheet of paper. Are you ready? This is music number 1. Etude Opera 10, number 3 by Chopin. Music number 2, La Campanella by Niccolo Paganini. Music number 3, Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairies by Peter Ilyich Tchaikovsky. Okay, let's check your answers. Number 1 is polyphony, slow, and sadness. Number 2 is homophony, fast, vibrant. And number 3, homophony, moderate, and fantasy. What is your score for this activity? If you got all 3 correct answers, very good. If you have wrong answers, you can always look back on your compendium and your MAPE teachers are more than willing to give you clarifications. It has been a very musical learning for all of us today. I hope you have learned a lot. Again, this has been Ma'am Celine, your Music 9 anchor teacher, leaving you with the life lessons we have learned from the music of the Romantic period. Music is the universal language of mankind. It expresses that which cannot be said and on which it is impossible to be silent. Until next time.
Upang matugunan ang mga kinakaharap na pagsubok ng mga guro at mag-aaral sa gitna ng kasalukuyang pandemya, nagsanib tulong sina Congressman Charlie Cojuangco ng unang distrito ng Tarlac, DEPED Region 3 Regional Director Dr. May B. Eclar at Tarlac Schools Division Superintendent Dr. Ronaldo Pozon para sa isang napapanahong proyekto na tinaguriang Project Shine, Aral TarlakHenyo. Ang mga mag-aaral ng Grade 4 at Grade 5, ganun din ang Grades 8 and 9 sa buong probinsya ng Tarlac, kasalukuyang sumasailalim sa radio-based instruction. Katuwang ang himpilang DZTZ 828 kHz AM at RTV Tarlac, Channel 26.
Ang Tarlac po nangunguna po ngayon pagdating po sa radio-based instruction. Marami pong humahanga sa atin. I'm very happy this station, itong DCTC, could reach the whole of Region 3. Hindi natin alam. We are contributing. We are creating a very big dent in the history of Philippine education. And I am proud. I am here in Tarlac. This is the noble cause of education in which you and I, without you knowing it, we are bound to do.
Project natin na Project Shine is a natural consequence dahil sa nangyari sa buong mundo. Let's continue to work together. I think it's very Filipino to practice bayanihan in anything or most of the things that we do. And this is a manifestation of that. No? We have private sector, we have DEPED, we have local government, all working together. And I hope the parents of some of these children, especially the parents that did not graduate from school or hindi nakapag-aral nung sila ay bata, sana naman gamitin na nila itong opportunity na mag-schooling na rin sila kasama ng mga anak nila para mag-bonding pati ang mga magulang sa mga bata. I look at this as doing God's work. Diba? So if you do God's work, it feels right. It's righteous. It's for good, not for evil.
Good morning and happy learning, grade 4. Welcome to
Aral TarlakHenyo here on RTV Tarlac, Channel 26.
Simulcast over DZTZ 828. Radio Filipino Tarlac.
I am Teacher Mercy Pacheco Bognot.
This is Alistair Aidatu.
I am Marie Josephine B. Andrade.
I am Teacher Princess Marie M. Dueñas, and I will be your teacher broadcaster for today.
Alam niyo ba na ang jeep ay ang pinakasikat na uri ng transportasyon sa Pilipinas? May nagsasabi na ang pangalang jeep ay hango sa salitang jeepy na ang ibig sabihin ay general purpose or government purpose na naglalarawan ng military jeep na ginamit noong World War II. Pagkatapos ng digmaan, iniwan na ng mga sundalong Amerikano ang libu-libong jeep sa kalsada ng Maynila. Ang matibay at makulay na jeepney nga raw ay truly mestizo dahil sa half local at half foreign na katangian nito. Alam nyo na, yan ang jeepney.
How are you today?
Hello, everyone.
Hello, learners of Tarlac.
Good morning, Math Talino Grade 4 learners!
Welcome to Aral TarlakHenyo
here on RTV Tarlac Channel 26.
Simulcast over DCTC.
Radio Filipino Tarlac.
I'm Sir Glenn, your teacher broadcaster.
Broadcasting live here at Paniki Tarlac.
Remotely here in Concepcion, Tarlac.
Live here at Barangay Pedro Elquines, Mayantok, Tarlac.
Broadcasting live from Ramos National High School.
Your anchor teacher today for grade 9 mathematics.
your partner in education this time of pandemic.
Project Shine, Aral TarlakHenyo ng SDO Tarlac Province na kasalukuyang napapanood dito sa RTV Tarlac Channel 26 at Converge Cable Channel 100 at sa bayang napapakinggan sa 828 AM DZTC Radyo Pilipino Tarlac. Magandang buhay, mabuting tao. Kumusta kayo mga giliw kong tagapakinig at tagapanood? Ang aking pagbati at paghanga sa inyong pagpapahalaga sa edukasyon at pagpupursiging matapos ito ng nagtatagumpay sa kabila ng hamon ng pandemya. Ako, ang inyong guro sa Homeroom Guidance Program, Paitang 8, Ginang Mary Ann Joy C. Ramos, sumasahim papawid mula sa Barangay San Miguel, Tarlac City. Sasamahan at gagabayan ka sa Most Essential Learning Competency na isasagawa ang mga tungkulin para sa sarili at sa kapwa. Perform duties for oneself and for others. Natitiyak kong kayo ay handang-handa na, mga anak, sa ating bagong aralin. Maging alerto at listo sa anumang impormasyong magbibigay sa atin ng inspirasyon, pag-asa at aral sa buhay na makatutulong sa pagiging mabuting tao. Ngunit bago natin talakayin ang ating paksa, nais ko munang balikan ang ating aralin noong nakaraang Biyernes. Naaalala niyo pa ba? Kung ang inyong kasagutan ay nasusuri ang tama at maling hakbang sa pagdedesisyon, tumpak at mahusay. Naaalala niyo pa ba kung ano ang mga dapat tandaan sa paggawa ng matalinong desisyon? Una, bago gumawa ng isang malaking desisyon, magdasal ka muna upang ikaw ay mabigyan ng karunungan at magabayan ng ating Diyos. Ikalawa, sa paggawa ng desisyon, sundin ang 6 na hakbang sa matalino at tamang pagpapasya. Narito ang 6 na hakbang. Unang hakbang, alamin at suriing mabuti ang suliranin o hamon na iyong kinakaharap. Ikalawang hakbang, pag-aralan ang lahat ng posibleng solusyon. Ikatlong hakbang, isaalang-alang ang mga maaaring ibunga ng bawat solusyon. Ika-4 na hakbang, tukuyin mula sa mga pagpipilian ang iyong personal at pampamilyang pagpapahalaga. Ika-5 hakbang, tukuyin mula sa mga pagpipilian ang pinakamabuting solusyon. Ika-6 na hakbang, pag-aralan ang kinalabasan ng pasya. Para sa ikatlong dapat tandaan, ayon kay Rick Warren, while it is wise to learn from experience, it is wiser to learn from the experiences of others. Sa pagsisimula ng ating pag-aaral, nais ko munang sagutin ninyo ang tanong na, ikaw ba ay isang responsableng bata o tao? Kung sa palagay mo ikaw ay responsable, pakilagay sa ating Facebook chat box ang iyong kasagutan na responsable ako o responsible ako. Huwag kayong mahiya. Dapat ninyong ipagmalaki na kayo ay responsableng bata o tao. Kaya ilagay na ninyo ang inyong mga kasagutan sa ating FB chat box. Responsible ako. Ipapakita ko sa inyo ang kasagutan ng ilan sa aking mga mag-aaral sa online class. Ayon kina Avondale at Leira ng grade 8 Antipolo, responsible ako ang kanilang kasagutan. Gayon din ang kasagutan ni Jovan David at Alicia May ng grade 8 Amugis. Responsible ako. Eira, Leira, Jovan at Alicia, maraming salamat sa inyong mga kasagutan. Ipagpatuloy ninyo ang inyong pagiging responsableng bata. Kayo naman, ilagay na ninyo ang inyong mga kasagutan sa ating Facebook chat box. O di kaya, isulat ninyo sa inyong sagutang papel. Mamaya, babasahin natin. Ano ang ibig sabihin ng pagiging responsable? Ginagampanan ng mga responsableng tao ang kanilang tungkulin sa bahay, paaralan at komunidad. Alam nilang mananagot sila sa kanilang ginagawa. Kaya kapag nagkamali sila, inaamin nila iyon. Humihingi ng paumanhin at itinutuwid ang pagkakamali. Kaya mga anak, ipagpatuloy ninyo ang pagiging responsable. Dito, napapasok ang ating paksa ngayon na naisasagawa ang mga tungkulin para sa sarili at sa kapwa. Ano ang tungkulin? Ang tungkulin ay ang mga bagay na inaasahan magagawa o maisa sa katuparan ng isang tao. Bakit kailangan mong gawin ang iyong mga tungkulin? Kung maisasagawa mo ng maayos ang mga tungkulin sa paggawa ng mabuti sa kapwa, maaari itong magbigay ng kaligayahan at kaganapan kung sino at ano ka bilang tao dito sa mundo. Tandaan, walang sinuman ang nabubuhay para sa sarili lamang. Walang sinuman ang namamatay para sa sarili lamang. Tayong lahat ay may pananagutan sa isa't isa. Tayong lahat ay tinipon ng Diyos na kapiling niya. Oh, mukhang familiar ba ang mga linyang ito? Mula sa awiting Pananagutan, ipinauunawa sa atin ng mga linyang ito ang kahalagahan ng pagtugon sa ating mga tungkulin bilang mga nilalang ng Diyos. Likas sa tao ang pagiging mapanagutan na nagpapakita ng tunay na pagkatao. Sa papaanong paraan mo naman dapat gawin ang iyong mga tungkulin? Ayon sa 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 31, whatever you do, do it all for the glory of God. Ibig sabihin nito mga anak, anuman ang iyong gawin, gawin mo ang lahat para sa ikaluluwalhati ng Diyos. Kaya dapat, do your best always. Sino ba ang dapat na gumawa ng iyong mga tungkulin? Ang kasagutan ay ikaw. Ikaw ang dapat gumawa ng iyong mga tungkulin. Ang sabi ni Les Brown, accept responsibility for your life. Know that it is you who will get you where you want to go. No one else. Ibig sabihin nito mga anak, tanggapin at gawin ninyo ang inyong mga tungkulin sa buhay. Ikaw ang magdadala sa sarili mo sa iyong mga pangarap. Kung nahihirapan ka, anak, sa pagtupad ng iyong mga tungkulin, nariyan ang iyong mga kapamilya, kaibigan, at guro upang magabayan ka. Tandaan, sa bawat tungkulin na iyong gagawin, lagi kang humingi ng gabay at pagpapala ng ating Diyos. Nauunawaan ba ninyo mga anak? Thumbs up naman sa ating Facebook chat box kung nauunawaan ninyo ang ating pag-aaral ngayon. Bilang kabataan, mahalagang magkaroon ka ng sapat na kaalaman sa mga tungkulin mo para sa sarili at sa kapwa. Ito ang magbibigay sa iyo ng kakayahang maprotektahan ang sarili at ang kapwa tungo sa mabisang paraan sa paglutas ng suliranin. Ito din ang magiging gabay mo upang makagawa ng mabuti na makapagdudulot sa iyo ng magandang buhay. Simulan natin sa tungkulin sa sarili. Ang tungkulin ay laging dapat nagsisimula sa sarili. Mahirap isalin sa ibang tao ang responsibilidad kung ito ay hindi nagsimulang ilapat sa sarili. Bilang isang kabataan, ano-ano ba ang iyong mga tungkulin sa sarili? Narito ang ilang halimbawa ng tungkulin sa sarili. Unang tungkulin, kilalanin at mahalin mo ang iyong sarili. Mahalaga na kilala at mahal mo ang iyong sarili. Kung may pagmamahal ka sa iyong sarili, magiging madali sa iyo ang magbigay ng pagmamahal sa iba. Halimbawa ng pagmamahal sa sarili ang pagpapanatili ng kalinisan ng katawan at paghuhugas ng kamay. Ang pagsusuot ng face mask ay isang halimbawa din ng pagmamahal sa sarili upang maiwasan ang pagkahawa sa COVID-19. Tanungin kita, mahal mo ba ang sarili mo? Kung mahal mo ang iyong sarili, aalagaan at iingatan mo yan ng mabuti. Tandaan, iisa lamang ang ating buhay. Kaya dapat na ingatan at pahalagahan mo ito ng mabuti. Ikalawang tungkulin, pagharap at wastong pamamahala sa sarili. Ang kabataan ay nahaharap sa iba't ibang pagbabago. Huwag mong hayaang bumaba ang iyong tiwala sa sarili. Sa halip, gamitin mo itong pagkakataon upang mas mapagyaman ang iyong sarili. Mga halimbawa ng pagharap sa mga pagbabago, ang pag-aaral sa online class or modular class. Kahanga-hanga ang mga batang tulad mo na patuloy na nagsusumikap makapagtapos ng pag-aaral sa kabilaman ng hamon ng pandemya. Ikatlong tungkulin, pagpapaunlad ng talento, kakayahan, hilig, at wastong paggamit ng mga ito. Isa kang obra ng Diyos. Biniyayaan ka ng talento at kakayahan na maaari mong gamitin at paunlarin. Kung hindi ito gagamitin at pauunlarin, hindi lamang ikaw, kundi ang buong lipunan ang mawawalan ng pagkakataon na umunlad. Halimbawa ng pagpapaunlad ng sarili, ang panonood ng mga educational videos and programs. Katulad ng pagsubaybay ninyo sa Aral TarlakHenyo ngayon. Ipagpatuloy ninyo ang magandang gawain na yan, mga anak. Nasusulat sa unang Pedro, Kabanata 4, versikulo 10. Bilang mabubuting katiwala ng iba't ibang kaloob ng Diyos, gamitin ninyo sa kapakinabangan ng lahat ang kakayahang tinanggap ng bawat isa sa inyo. Ibig sabihin nito, mga anak, gamitin ninyo sa kabutihan ang inyong mga hilig, kakayahan at talento. Balikan natin ang mga halimbawa ng mga tungkulin sa sarili na ating pinag-aralan. Una, kilalanin at mahalin ang iyong sarili. Ikalawa, pagharap at wastong pamamahala sa sarili. Ikatlo, pagpapaunlad ng talento, kakayahan, hilig, at wastong paggamit ng mga ito. Tignan nga natin ang ating chat box. Maraming salamat sa inyong mga kasagutan. Ipagpatuloy ninyo, mga anak, ang inyong mga kasagutan, ang pagsagot sa ating Facebook chat box. Kung meron pa kayong alam na tungkulin sa sarili na hindi natin natalakay ngayon, pakilagay sa ating chat box ang inyong kasagutan upang mabasa natin. Dumako naman tayo sa tungkulin sa kapwa. Alam natin na walang sino man ang nabubuhay para sa sarili lamang. Ang pagiging mapanagutan ay nagpapakita ng tunay na pagkatao. Kaya habang maaga, ay simulan mo na ang pagtugon sa tungkulin mo sa iyong kapwa. Narito ang mga halimbawa ng ating tungkulin sa kapwa. Unang tungkulin, mahalin ang iyong kapwa. Mahalin mo ang iyong kapwa gaya ng pagmamahal mo sa iyong sarili. Pagmasdan natin ang larawan na ibinigay ni Carl Bautista. Dati kong mag-aaral sa online. Sabi niya, ito ang larawan na nagluluto ako. Ginagawa ko po ito para sa pag-uwi ng aking mga magulang ay may makakain na sila dahil alam kong pagod sila. Carl, maraming salamat sa iyong output. Mapalad ang iyong mga magulang dahil isa kang mapagmahal na anak. Ipagpatuloy mo ang iyong mabuting paggawa, anak. Heto ang tanong, mahal mo ba ang iyong kapwa? Kung opo, pakilagay sa ating FB chat box ang iyong kasagutan na, kapwa ko, mahal ko. Pagkakataon na ninyong ipaalam sa mundo na mahal ninyo ang inyong kapwa. Kaya ilagay na ang kapwa ko, mahal ko sa ating chat box. Ikalawang tungkulin, igalang ang iyong kapwa. Maipapakita mo ang paggalang at pagpapahalaga sa iyong kapwa sa pamamagitan ng pagrespeto mo sa kanyang pagkatao. Ang pagtanggap mo sa kanya kahit ano paman ang kanyang kasarian at estado sa buhay. Ang paggalang ay kailangan na nagsisimula sa ating sarili. Kaya sundin natin ang sinabi ni Confucius. Respect yourself and others will respect you. Halimbawa ng paggalang sa kapwa, ang pagmamano at pagsagot ng po at opo. Ikatlong tungkulin, tulungan ang kapwa. Masarap sa pakiramdam kapag ikaw ay nakakatulong sa kapwa. Ang pagtulong ay hindi lamang sa pamamagitan ng pera o mga material na bagay. Maaaring sa pamamagitan ng pagpapasaya, pagbibigay motibasyon, at inspirasyon sa mga taong nangangailangan nito. Hindi na mahalaga kung gaano man kaliit o kalaki. Ang mahalaga, ang kakayahan nating tumulong sa kapwa. Halimbawa ng pagtulong sa kapwa, ang pagtuturo sa nakababatang kapatid. Ikaw, sa papaanong paraan ka tumutulong sa iyong kapwa? Pakilagay ulit sa ating FB chat box ang iyong kasagutan upang mabasa ng lahat. Ayon kay Swami Vivekananda, service to man is a service to God. Ibig sabihin nito, ang paglilingkod sa ating kapwa ay paglilingkod sa Diyos. Balikan natin mga anak ang mga halimbawa ng mga tungkulin sa kapwa na ating pinag-aralan. Una, mahalin ang iyong kapwa. Ikalawa, igalang ang iyong kapwa. Ikatlo, tulungan ang iyong kapwa. Meron ka pa bang ibang naiisip na tungkulin sa kapwa? Pakilagay sa ating FB chat box upang mabasa natin. Tingnan nga natin. Maraming salamat. Eliazor Ramos, kapwa ko, mahal ko. Kiro Elijah Ramos, kapwa ko, mahal ko. Salamat sa inyong mga kasagutan. May mga pagkakataon na mahirap at nakakapagod ang pagtupad ng ating mga tungkulin. Huwag kang panghinaan at sumuko. Ayon sa mga taga-Galasya, Kabanata 6, versikulo 9, kaya't huwag tayong magsawa sa paggawa ng mabuti. Pagdating ng takdang panahon, tayo ay aani kung hindi tayo magsasawa. Tandaan ninyo mga anak, ang tao ay nilikha na may taglay na kakayahan na tumugon sa nakaatang na tungkulin sa kanya. Mga anak, upang lubos nating maunawaan ang ating aralin ngayon, balikan natin ang mga mahalagang konsepto. Una, ang tao ay nilikha na may taglay na kakayahan na tumugon sa nakaatang na tungkulin sa kanya. Ikalawa, whatever you do it all for the glory of God. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 31. Ikatlo, kaya't huwag tayong magsawa sa paggawa ng mabuti. Pagdating ng takdang panahon, tayo ay aani kung hindi tayo magsasawa. Mula sa mga taga-Galasya, Kabanata 6, versikulo 9. Sana isa puso ninyo mga anak ang tatlong konseptong ito. Isang talakayan na naman ang malapit ng matapos. Ako ay masayang-masaya sa ipinapakita ninyong aktibong pakikibahagi sa ating aralin ngayon. Higit sa lahat, ang inyong pagmamahal sa edukasyon. Ipagpatuloy ang kagandahang asal na ito mga anak, hakbang tungo sa katuparan ng inyong mga pangarap sa hinaharap. Sa puntong ito, panahon na upang alamin kung kayo ay may natutunan mula sa ating aralin sa pamamagitan ng maikling pagsusulit. Sa lahat ng mga nanonood sa FB Live, gamitin ang FB chat box para sa inyong mga kasagutan. Ihanda naman ang panulat at sagot ang papel sa lahat ng mga nanonood sa telebisyon at nakikinig sa radyo. Panuto, isulat ang salitang tama kung ang sitwasyon ay wasto at isulat ang mali kung ito ay hindi wasto. Handa na ba kayo? Simulan na natin. Unang katanungan, tumutulong sa mga gawaing bahay si Angela. Tama o mali? Ang wastong kasagutan ay tama. Kung ito ang inyong kasagutan, binabati ko kayo mga anak. Ikalawang katanungan. Magalang ang pakikitungo ni Mario sa lahat ng kanyang nakakasalamuha. Tama o mali? Ang wasong kasagutan ay tama. Kung ito ang inyong kasagutan, binabati ko kayo mga anak. Ikatlong katanungan, si Erica ay nakikipagtulungan sa outreach program ng iba't ibang organisasyon bilang pagtulong sa kapwa. Tama o mali? Ang wastong kasagutan ay tama. Kung ito ang inyong kasagutan, binabati ko kayo mga anak. Ikaapat na katanungan, nahuhumaling sa paglalaro ng computer game si Lester. Tama o mali? Ang wastong sagot ay mali. Kung ito ang inyong kasagutan, binabati ko kayo mga anak. Para sa huling katanungan, makinig ng mabuti, pinagbubutihan ni Rosa ang kanyang pag-aaral. Tama o mali? Ang wastong kasagutan ay tama. Kung ito ang inyong kasagutan, binabati ko kayo. Ayan, nakikita na natin ang inyong mga kasagutan. Elazar Ramos, tama. Number 1, Kiro Elijah Ramos, tama po. Tama. Ayan, maraming salamat sa inyong pakikibahagi sa ating chat box. Binabati ko kayong lahat mga anak sapagkat natitiyak kong nakuha ninyong lahat ang tamang sagot sa ating pagsusulit. Mula sa akin, tanggapin ninyo ang mga salitang magaling at mahusay, mabuting tao. Mga anak, kami ay naghanda ng mga gawain at refleksyon sa inyong learning activity sheets. Maraming salamat po Madam Jane Mones at Madam Noribel de la Pasión sa inyong isinulat na learning activity sheets. Mga anak, inaasahan ko na ito'y inyong sasagutan ng buong sigasig at sa abot ng inyong makakaya. Sakali man na kailanganin ninyo ang patnubay ng inyong kapamilya at guro, huwag kayong mag-atubiling, sila ay tawagan upang kayo ay magabayan ng tama. Panalangin ko na anumang konsepto, higit lalo ang mga aral sa buhay na inyong natutunan sa araw na ito ay inyong maisa sa buhay sa araw-araw. Muli, ako ang inyong guro sa Homeroom Guidance Program, Baitang 8, Ginang Mary Ann Joy C. Ramos, sumasahim papawid mula sa Barangay San Miguel, Tarlac City. Nagpapaalala na, piliing maging mabuting tao sa lahat ng panahon at pagkakataon. Hanggang sa muli, Sa Diyos ang papuri. Salamat po!
How are you today?
Hello, everyone.
Hello, learners of Tarlac.
Good morning, Math Talino Grade 4 learners!
Welcome to Aral TarlakHenyo
Here on RTV Tarlac Channel 26.
Simulcast over DCTC.
Radyo Pilipino Tarlac.
I'm Sir Glenn, your teacher broadcaster.
Broadcasting live here at Paniki Tarlac.
Remotely here in Concepcion, Tarlac.
Live here at Barangay Pedro Elquines, Mayantok, Tarlac.
Broadcasting live from Ramos National High School.
Your anchor teacher today for grade 9 mathematics.
your partner in education this time of pandemic.